All right, welcome my friends to Dawn of the New Earth. Today we are continuing to explore a banned Gnostic text called The Three Forms of First Thought, or the Trimorphic Protonoia, that describes a powerful goddess that is almost the most powerful being in existence. The only entity more powerful than this being is the source itself. This goddess is the thought, the voice, and the word of the source. And we're going to be exploring in this particular aspect of the text the God of the Bible and his minions and rulers encountering the power of this goddess. And it gets really, really interesting. You're going to want to see it. It's good. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're talking about today. And yeah, we're going to get started. As always, make sure you hit like and subscribe. Helps out a lot. And become a member on the channel. That helps. If you guys have noticed, my videos have been longer with better editing and higher quality. That's because of your support. So become a member. You'll get access to all of our members only videos. All my downloads on inner transformation and alchemy for free. You can download those. As well as we're having a members only video right after this, by the way, called the top 10 ridiculous excuses people use to defend religion. So that's going to be a good one. Anyway, a lot of great stuff. Check out the membership. You can become a member on YouTube by hitting the join button right below, or on Patreon. Either way works. Check out my book, Neogenesis, Dawn of the New Mind. It describes how to undo all the brainwashing and conditioning that has been instilled in you since birth, so you can be free to create yourself and reach the highest levels of consciousness. And as always, follow me on Spotify. This is in podcast form on Spotify. By visiting the link in the description of this video. And I believe that is everything, my friends. So here we go. Three forms of first thought. People always say, where do you get this information? How do you find this information? You guys can read all of this for free on gnosis.org. Okay, gnosis.org. It's a great website, gnosis.org. All these texts are from the Nag Hammadi Library. They were discovered in 1945 near the tombs of Egypt. They were buried for over 1,500 years to escape the persecution and destruction of the church at the time. So that's where this stuff comes from. So we're reading three forms of first thought, and that's what trimorphic protonoia means. Why three forms of first thought? Why is it called this? Because this goddess that we're talking about, her name is Barbelo. And she is described as the first thought of the source, essentially. And so three forms of first thought are the three forms of Barbelo, because she is the first thought. These three forms are thought, voice, and word. But she's also described as, her voice is described as the Father, the Mother, and the Son. She is the true Trinity. And we're going to be exploring what happens. So there's three descents in this story. The first descent is in the form of thought. The second descent is in the form of voice. The third is in the form of word. And right now we are at the second descent in our reading, which is the form of voice. And she's about to encounter the dark archons, or at least her power is. Okay. So there are more videos to this in a playlist. You can watch those if you want a full understanding of this text. But you don't need to have done that if you don't want. You can understand it out of, just by watching this video alone. But they're there if you want to watch it. Okay. So let's start. So where we left off last time, it said, a great thunder disturbed the allotments of fate and those who apportion the houses. And I love how it says a great thunder, because this is like the power of Barbelo. There's another Gnostic text called Thunder Perfect Mind, which is a beautiful Gnostic text that describes an all-powerful being. Anyway, but what this is saying here is that the thunder here represents revelation, breaking through the illusion, right? So the material world, according to Gnostics, as you probably know, is an illusion. So this thunder is talking about a disruption of the illusion, right? So remember, Gnosticism is highly metaphorical, highly allegorical. So this isn't just like rumbling in the sky. It's divine disruption. And then you'll notice it says it disturbed the allotments of fate. Okay. So, the allotments of fate are basically structures that bind people. different rules and limitations imposed by the rulers of this world, who are called archons, which means rulers. So the god of the Bible and his archons. The god of the Bible is called the demiurgos, or the demiurge, the craftsman, or Ialdabaoth is one of his names. Samael, Saklas. He's got a lot of different names. But that's the god of the Bible. So fate is a prison, a part. So if you read another Gnostic text called the Secret Book of John, Ialdabaoth and the archons are just trying to do everything possible to keep humans from realizing who they are, right? So first Ialdabaoth puts a divine spark into a human body and then realizes, oh my God, this being's more powerful than me. I need to make a body that has a lot of limitations and causes it to forget. And so he does that. And then he's like, oh, it's still too powerful. We have to split this soul or this spark in two. And that's where you get Adam and Eve. But then Adam and Eve eat from the tree of knowledge and have a child. And their child is the reunion, which is Seth in some texts, or Nerea in another text, or both. And then so you have this unity again. God gets pissed. He tries to destroy everyone in a flood, but that doesn't work. Anyway, basically there's this like war of the mind, this battle between human beings and the God of the Bible. God of the Bible trying to keep humans ignorant, and humans trying to realize that they're divine and overcome the material world. Fate was one of the traps set by Ialdabaoth and the archons, one of the ways to try and thwart humanity. So the way fate means in Gnosticism isn't probably how one would commonly think of it. Think of fate kind of like someone who gets stuck in the same cycle, the same grind. Go to sleep, get up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to sleep, get up, go to work, come home, get up, go to sleep. And then you can look at it overarching, people who live like the same lives too, like all these different people who live the same type of lives, no variation, just the same thing over and over and over and over. So this is sort of what it means by being caught in fate. It's not like cosmic fate as one would think of in terms of like how we think of fate, but basically like getting stuck in the grind, getting stuck in the rat race, like a hamster running in a wheel. So let's see. Anyway, so we have this thunder disturbing the illusion. And it says the thrones of the powers were disturbed because they were overturned and their king was afraid. So these powers are the archons. The material world is their throne. And it also represents like their positions of control. And their king was afraid. Their king was, of course, the god of the Bible, Ialdabaoth. Something very disruptive is happening. So this is the thunder of Barbelo. And it's like the thunder of enlightenment, the thunder of knowledge, the thunder of awakening. And it's shaking. It's like this, it's shaking their thrones. The archons are afraid. The god of the Bible is terrified. And so what happens? It says, and those who follow fate paid their allotment of visits to the path and said to the powers, what is this disturbance and this shaking we have felt through the voice of exalted speech? So basically what this means is the followers of fate, which means like the souls that we just, right? The souls that we just talked about, the ones that are trapped in the system, going around and round and round in that wheel. They're confused. They don't know what's going on. And they've followed the rules according to the archons. They did what they were told. They followed the divine laws, the 10 commandments, whatever. They followed God and the archons, but something else happened. They heard this exalted voice that shakes everything. Remember, by the way, this is the second descent, which describes the voice. In the first descent, Barbelo says, I am the thought. In the second descent, she says, I am the voice. In the third descent, she says, I am the word. So this is the voice. So this voice is a force that is disrupting the illusion. And so that you have the human beings who are trapped in the illusion and following the God of the Bible and his archons going, what's going on? There's this, what is this disturbance? Disturbance in the force. I have not felt it. What is this disturbance? This is different. This is something that they haven't felt before, something that was hidden for them. And they continue by saying, and our entire world has been shaken. The entire circuit of our path of ascent has been destroyed, and our way up to the chief creator, the demiurge, God of the Bible, of our birth no longer exists for us. So basically they're realizing that this spiritual ladder they've been climbing, built by the rulers of this world, is an illusion. The path to their chief creator is gone. I mean, it didn't lead to the true divinity in the first place. It just led to a trap. The system that they trusted is collapsing because they hear this voice that is breaking everything, all the illusions, that's more powerful than the God of the Bible. So they're like, what the fuck? I've been your slave basically my whole life. And what is this thing that seems to be more powerful? And they're coming to the archons, and they're saying this to the archons. It says, then the powers are the archons, then the archons answered, saying, we too are at a loss about it, because we did not know what caused it. So the rulers don't even know. Because the rulers, the archons, also think that the God of the Bible, the chief ruler, the chief archon, is the highest God. Because what does he do all the effing time is saying, I am God and there is no other but me. He says it over and over and over because he says that in the Bible over and over. If you read a Bible, how many times he says it? Oh my God, I counted one time in just like one chapter. He said it like, I don't know, like 8 times in a single chapter. It's crazy. He says it all the time. Like, why do you have to say? Clearly, there's something up here. So the archons are confused. So first the people are confused. They go to the archons. They're like, what the heck is going on? And the archons are like, I don't know what's happening. We have no idea. So the archons say, but get up and let's go to the chief creator and ask him. And the powers gathered up and went to the chief creator. So the archons, they're like, hey, let's go ask the big boss in charge and try and figure out what's going on. So, and that's the demiurge, of course. And the chief creator told them that he's the only God. And so I love this. The Gnostics are such cool writers. Like, get this. So it's just, I love it so much. Being an ex-Christian, seeing the God of the Bible being put in his place is just very, very satisfying. So the archons go to the chief creator, to the God of the Bible. What kind of boasting is this? Didn't we hear you say, I am God and I am your father, and it is I who produced you, and there is no other God but me? So they're pissed. They're like, what? You're like, what do you told us this, you dick? Didn't we hear you say I'm the only God? And they continue and go, now look, the eon's voice, Barbelo is an eon. An eon is an immensely powerful being. It's not a length of time. It's an immensely powerful being. And this immensely powerful being is far greater than the God of the Bible and the archons, far greater. They exist in realms of light that those beings can't even touch. They can only look at its reflection in the waters. They can't even directly contemplate it. So they go, hey, what the hell? You said you were the only God and there is no other. And it says, now look, the eon's voice of invisible speech has appeared. We don't recognize the voice, nor to whom we belong. So this is the voice of the true divine realm, right? That's what it means by the invisible. It's the eternal beings of light. And the rulers of this world, they don't recognize it because that's not where they're from. They're not from the true source. They were created by the demiurgos in ignorance. And now they're being exposed to the fact that there's something greater than them and the God of the Bible. It came and terrified and weakened our arms. So let us weep and mourn bitterly. They're not having a good time here. Okay. They know that their system that they built, that's based on like illusion and all that, is crumbling. They're losing their grip and their end is coming. This is a great quote here. The tree from which we grew has fruit of ignorance. Ignorance. The tree from which we grew has fruit of ignorance. Death is in its leaves, and darkness under the shadow of its boughs. This is really cool. So I'm sure you're familiar with like the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Life, etc. There's different ways to interpret this, but what this is, I just want to mention something that I find really cool is that in the secret book of John, another Gnostic text, they describe the tree of life. Because in that text, Jesus has Adam and Eve eat from the tree of knowledge, not from the tree of life. And Jesus describes the tree of life, though, but he says it's not actually the tree of life. It's the tree of their life. It's the tree of their life. And really, it's basically the tree of death. So I'm going to read to you, because this is one of my favorite writings passages in all the Gnostic texts. It's hard to pick, but it's up there. It's definitely up there, which describes their tree and their fruit. Their food is bitter. Their beauty is corrupt. Their food is deceit. Their trees are ungodliness. Their fruit is poison. Their promise is death. They placed the tree of their life into the middle of paradise. I will teach you the secret of their life, the plan that they made together about an artificial spirit. Its root is bitter. Its branches are dead. Its shadow is hatred. Its leaves are deception. The nectar of wickedness is in its blossoms. Its fruit is death. Its seed is desire. It flowers in the darkness. Those who eat from it are denizens of Hades. Darkness is their resting place. I love that. I think it's an amazing passage, beautiful passage describing this dark tree. What's really interesting about this is that in future videos, when we start studying Kabbalah and the tree of life, this fits very well within a concept known as the tree of death. A lot of people don't really know too much about the tree of death. It's the dark counterpart to the tree of life. Now, this is clearly not referencing that. The tree of death is something, it's a fairly recent concept, at least how it's understood today, but it fits very well. And so we'll be in the future visiting the idea of the tree of life and the tree of death in terms of Kabbalah. And anyway, I just love this passage. I think it's very fitting to describe this dark tree, because you're so used to hearing about these trees of light and trees of life, etc. Anyway, I digress. The archons are freaking out because they hear this voice that is destroying everything. And then Barbelo speaks, and Barbelo says, "O children of thought, hear me. Hear the speech of the mother of your mercy." So we have the true divine voice speaking, this higher wisdom, and she's the one who's bringing mercy, the one who's going to reveal the truth. You have earned the right to own the mystery hidden from eternity. Now accept it. I love how she's such a badass. She's so like strong and to the point, so powerful. You have earned the right. She's speaking to you. You have earned the right to own the mystery hidden from eternity. Now accept it. That's the decision you have to make. You have earned the right to the mystery hidden from eternity. Will you accept it? Will you step into it? That's what you have to decide. She says, I am androgynous. I am mother and father. I copulate with myself. So this is her saying she's self-sufficient. She doesn't need anything. She is father. She is mother, and she copulates with herself and produces the son. And she's the son as well. She's the father. She's the mother. She's the result of the copulation. She is all these things. And I love this so much because there are so many closed-minded spiritualists out there that try and push this weird, like, conservative and sometimes like alt-right mindset and ideas by trying to be like, oh, well, there's only male and female because there's only masculine energy and feminine energy. And that's wrong in so many different ways. It's wrong because masculine and feminine isn't literally about gender or sex. It's about energy. You could just call it negative and positive. So that doesn't work. It also doesn't work because guess what? In most of these systems, there's a third thing in terms of positive, negative, and neutral, or male and female, androgynous. The highest beings are androgynous beings that are male and female, or both, or neither, or express themselves in different ways. They're constantly changing and transforming into other, different permutations. We have this in all these differences. Anyway, I love stuff like this because it's a big middle finger to those close-minded conservative assholes who try and twist spiritual, just like they twisted the message of Christ. They try and twist spirituality into this weird, these weird conservative values, which is the complete opposite, the total opposite. Just like they twist Jesus's words into the complete opposite of what they're supposed to be. Total opposite of what this is all about. Anyway, love it. I am androgynous. I am mother and father. I copulate with myself. I am the womb that gives shape to all by bearing light, shining in splendor. She is the womb of creation, not the false god of this world, not the demiurge. She is the womb of everything. And she gives birth to light rather than illusion. She says, I invite you into the high, perfect light. Again, another invitation, an invitation. Do you accept it? It's to wake up from the dream of the material world. Realize your own divine nature. It's here. You are deserving of it. You are worthy of it. But will you accept it? When you enter light, you will be glorified by those who give glory. I hid in everyone and revealed myself in them. Barbelo, which again is basically the God. Not quite, there's still the source, but it's like as close as to the source you could possibly get without it's like I said, it's the thought, the voice, and the word of the source. It's the mother, the father, the son. And she says, I hid in everyone and revealed myself. Divinity is in you, in us, in all of us. It's always been there. It's again, you're worthy of it. You have that. Will you accept it? By the way, I don't want to get into too much, but one time when I did a DMT trip, remember, don't do anything dangerous or illegal. But I had a very similar experience where, just in a nutshell, it was essentially myself in a figure that was very similar to Barbelo, but we were two entities, but one entity at the same time. Just very similar to this, like the mother, father. It was me and this, couldn't even say feminine, but like counterpart, where we were one, but separate. And we basically shattered ourselves into, and then lifetimes, I recognize in the water, in the ocean, in the song of a bird, in the wind, on my face, like she was in everything, everywhere. And this is essentially what this means. Divinity is in everything. Divinity is everywhere. You just have to see it. You have to have the eyes to see, the ears to hear. And I cast the eternally Holy Spirit into them, and I ascended and entered my light. It more emphasizing, it's in us, every single one of us, those who are ready to, it's there. It's just about claiming it. I got on my branch and sat among the children of holy light. This branch symbolizes, can symbolize like connection, a link between worlds. Again, she's sitting among, she's within us all. And I withdrew to where they lived. Amen. And that's very, very powerful. And so what that is essentially setting us up for is the, so that was the end of the second descent. Remember, there are three descents. The first descent of thought, we read that. The second descent of voice, we just read. And then the third descent of word. And that's what we're going to read next time. And this, it gets even more, so more powerful about how Barbelo talks about like how she wears people like clothes. Like we're all basically expressions of the divine. She says she wore Jesus. And it gets very cool, very beautiful. Such a brilliantly poetic book. So that's what we're going to get into next time, is the third descent. The descent as the word and what that means for us. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are going to end that there. And as always, if you do enjoy my work, hey, become a member. We're having a members only stream right now where we're going to talk about the top 10 ridiculous excuses people use to defend religion. It's going to be good. Check out my book, Neogenesis, Dawn of the New Mind. Follow me on Spotify. Links to all those things are in the description of this video. I'm going to give a big shout out to everyone who supports, especially Renaissance Fairy, Cassidy, Angela, DB, Nusalina, Dallas, Sacred, LaDonna, Mario, Vuanli, and someone new, Celsus, Cassidemia, and everyone else. Thank you very much.